For most people, it seems pretty obvious that the Raptors should use the 4th overall pick on whoever falls out of Mobely, Suggs, or Green, but for Masai Ujiri, it isn't always the obvious thing on draft night, and Jonathan Kuminga could be the guy on his radar. So in this video, we're going to break down his entire draft profile and showcase why the Raptors should not draft this player. Let's get into it. Welcome everybody to Amateur Sports. This is the channel where you get NBA content with a focus on the Toronto Raptors at least 4 days a week. That is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. This is your Saturday episode where we are doing a Jonathan Kuminga draft profile breakdown. So if you like what you see from today's video, you want more of myself talking about the NBA and the Raptors in videos and content just like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below to show your support to the channel on a road to 5,000 subscribers. You can help us get there by subscribing. When we hit 5,000, I will shave my head again to celebrate. So get yourself involved. But let's get into the content for today. We're talking about Jonathan Kuminga, a draft profile breakdown, because you guys asked for it. We've done one for Mobely, we've done one for Suggs, we've done one for Green. Now we move over to Jonathan Kuminga. So what we're going to do over the course of this video, we're going to go through his G-League statistics. We're going to break down his strength, we're going to break down his weaknesses, and then we're going to finish on a player comparable so you can kind of gauge what type of player he is if you haven't really seen enough tape or enough games of this player. But Jonathan Kuminga is a very young player who decided to take the G League route instead of the college route. And I really like that this system is in place. Number one, it gets these young guys paid, because obviously you can't get paid in the NCAA, even though now you can get paid for your likeness. I'd rather just get, the salary base from playing in the G League. So a lot of guys like, Jalen Green have decided with Jonathan Kuminga to go to the G League Ignite team to develop their game, get ready for the NBA. And I think it's a really good way to harness your abilities as well, because you're not playing with these younger guys in college. You're playing with grown men. And for a guy like Jonathan Kuminga, who relies significantly on his athleticism, as we are going to find out, it was a challenge for him to play in the G League, because I think he would have really bullied and dummied a lot of these kids in college. But let's get into the G League stats that he has. And to be honest, for Jonathan Kuminga, these stats are underwhelming. This is the first underwhelming thing I'm going to bring up, and there's quite a bit to say about this player. So looking at the stats, 15.8 points per game, that's pretty good, especially considering that he was playing with men, wasn't always the first option on a team with Jalen Green as well, but 2.7 assists, not that great. However, for a small forward, you can kind of live with that, though you'd wish it is a little bit higher. You can live with that. The 7.2 rebounds is also very nice for this player. Very good rebound machine, as we are going to see later on. But here's where we get to the drawbacks now, because there are quite a few drawbacks for this player, especially in the shooting category, because his field goal percentage this season was 38.7, and that is his field goal percentage. His field goal percentage. That's what I would probably like to see from your three-point percentage, but that is his field goal percentage. You move down to his three-point percentage and it just gets even worse. It goes all the way down to 24.6%, and then you can go to his free throws where it is 62.5%. So evidently, shooting isn't quite there for this player. So how is he flirting with a top 5, potentially a top 4 pick in this upcoming NBA draft? Because those stats don't showcase a player that you'd like to take that early. But let's dive into the strengths to really gauge what type of player he is. So even though the shooting stats aren't there, what he has is athleticism, and oh my goodness, does he have athleticism. He is insanely athletic. He's got the jump out of gym athleticism, mixed with the fact that he's 6'7", 6'8", and has a 7-foot wingspan. He is an athletic freak. This guy is an athletic freak with that size. He's also quite built, even though he is athletic. So with the size mixed with the athleticism of a guy like Russell Westbrook, he's got that explosive, quick twitch, kind of like Westbrook in terms of just getting off the mark and being able to blow by defenders. That is what Jonathan Kuminga absolutely thrives on. And when he does that, he can get himself to the rim. He's got a little bit of a soft touch. He's a decent finisher, but obviously some of the shooting needs work. To be honest, he's got the finishing. The mid-range looks like it's coming. The three-point ball needs a ton of work, as we are going to see. But Mixed with all of this athleticism and his size, this leads to a player who has very good shot creation potential. Now, the problem is hitting those shots, as you saw with the field goal percentage, but because of his insane athleticism, his insane size, he is able to create shots for himself just off of that alone. And playing in the G League, you saw he was able to do it against men. It's not like a college situation where, okay, will his athleticism just take him above guys he's bigger than in college? Because he's playing with bigger guys. He's playing with those taller and more built guys in the G League. Obviously, NBA is a different level, but good signs are already there. His full court play is also something that's great. His ball handling is pretty good in the full court, and he's a downhill player as well in the full court. He plays in transition, can grab the ball and work that athleticism in transition, and also along with that size, it just makes him a very good rebounder. As you saw, the 7.2 rebounds per game. Quite impressive for a guy playing in the forward position. It's just because of that size and that wingspan. It allows him to get those rebounds. All of these things combined lead to a player with insane upside, because he doesn't have a jump shot right now, and he's already really, really good just because of the fact he's got those just natural traits about his game. That is something that NBA teams would love to work with, love to work on. And as you know, Masai always loves a project. He loves to bring in these project type players, and this is probably somebody he's looking at maybe the Raptors development team can go with. But all of these strengths kind of cater towards just because he's athletic. So there is going to be a lot of weaknesses. Let's touch on them now. So out of all these draft profile videos we've done Suggs, Green, and Mobely. Nobody has anywhere near as many weaknesses as Jonathan Kuminga. I think that for Mobely, Suggs, and Green, there's not really a lot to complain about. There is in this situation, because the shooting, as you saw with those field goal percentages, it's not that good. And after a very good start to the G League season, he faded off quickly. He struggled to hit his jump shots. He has consistency issues. Obviously, it's a small sample size, only playing 1 year in the G League, but there is some inconsistency about his game. It's a young player that can be worked on. However, just something to take note of course. Another thing is that he is extremely raw. This is a project type player. This is not a guy who is NBA ready. You're going to have to work on this guy to harness his game, harness his potential. He's got insane potential. He could potentially turn into the best player to come out of this draft class, but you have a long way to go to help him get there. My goodness, do you need to help him get there? Also, he's very one-dimensional in terms of his ability to get to the rim. He relies, again, that athleticism can get him there, but maybe that'll only take him so far in the NBA. He doesn't really have that shot creation off of his handling. It's literally the fact that he's got that quick twitch explosiveness to blow by defenders. That gets him his shots. It's not about his ball handling, so predictability is there for his game. That is something he absolutely needs to work on. And then we go to team basketball. The one thing that scouts have criticized about his game in the G League is that he doesn't really bring his teammates into the game. Again, it kind of jumps onto that one-dimensional ability. He gets the ball and it's basically just head down, athletics get you to the rim. And if they don't, there really is no plan B for this player. It leads to him not really being able to get the best out of his teammates. And for a Raptors team who, really are a share the ball dynamic and a team orient, that may not be the best thing. And then also the free throws, as we saw, the free throw percentage is just not good, 62%. That really needs to be better in the NBA, especially if he is going to be a slasher. If he's going to be slashing to the rim every play, they're going to start hacking him and making him go to the line. It's just something that he needs to work on about his game. You have to be better. If your game is like paint-centric, getting to the rim, you have to have the free throws down. Then the last thing, it's kind of a criticism, but it's like one of those half ones in orange down there. It's the intangibles. He's got the ability to be a phenomenal lockdown defender with all of these natural traits in his athletics, but he really needs to get his head down and do it. A lot of scouts have criticized him for not having the drive to be a great defender. And if he gets that drive and he gets that sort of motivation to do it, he can be one of the best defenders in the league because of all these other parts about his game, because of all of these natural abilities. But he's really got to hone in that and get to work and get on that. That's probably something the Raptors could work with. But with all that in mind, this reminds me of a couple of players that you may know from the NBA. Let's get into the player comparable. I gotta say, this was kind of tough, but the more I kind of dived into this player, the more I really felt like there were two player comparables. And the biggest one, this is essentially, Jonathan Kuminga is essentially a carbon copy of Dominique Wilkins. You ever seen any sort of footage of Dominique Wilkins? They're both like 6'8", they're both like 210, 215 pounds, downhill players who just super athletic, jump out of the gym athleticism, getting to the rim, can finish at the rim, can throw down. I mean, Dominique Wilkins, one of the best dunkers in NBA history. They can both throw down. You know, I think Dominique Wilkins is just kind of a more polished version. He's got those post moves, whereas Kuminga doesn't really have those post moves, but, you know, not really good, not really in that three-point dynamic. If you look at early career Dominique Wilkins, just when he was younger, he had the athleticism that just carried him in the NBA. He was a scoring champ one year, and he averaged over 30 points per game, I believe, twice in his career, just because of that athleticism. Didn't need the three-pointer because he also had a bit of a mid-range game. Jonathan Kuminga showed spells of having that mid-range game in the G League, but it's the athleticism that really gets you to the rim, and you got to have that soft touch, which Kuminga's getting, Dominique Wilkins had, but I really see a lot of extreme parallels between these two players. And I also said I had a second one. This is more so for the current NBA dynamic, but honestly, I'm seeing basically a smaller, shorter, more built Giannis here. I mean, based on the strength I alluded to about this player, one-dimensional, but plays really well in transition, plays really well in the full court, can ball handle in the full court just like Giannis. They also have the height to get the rebounding. They rebound a lot, even though they are maybe in that forward position. And also for Giannis, it's that one-dimensional trait where he doesn't really have anything in his back. He's just basically a downhill player. He can back up and just bolt straight to the rim, and it works in a lot of situations because of his athleticism. Jonathan Kuminga shares a lot of these traits. It's just, honestly, I feel like this is a shorter version of Giannis. More so Dominique Wilkins, but for people, you know, like myself who never watched Dominique Wilkins actually play, I see a lot of parallels with Giannis. But the thing is, Giannis came into the league as such a raw prospect. He had to work to get to where he is today. Now, Kuminga has that insane upside to get to those Giannis levels, but it's about him putting in the work to get there. It's about the team who drafts him harnessing that potential to get there. And the Raptors, Masai Ujiri, they like a project. They like working on a player like this. They see the upside in players. That's why Masai Ujiri was so desperate to trade into the draft to acquire the pick to get Giannis Antetokounmpo. But that didn't manufacture itself. Milwaukee were keen on the player. Masai has the chance here to draft somebody just like that with that insane upside to work on, and he may not want to sacrifice this opportunity. My opinion on the situation is I think that there is such a definitive gap from the top 4 players in the draft to 5, 6, 7, and beyond that I think it's not really worth taking on this project. You got a chance at getting Evan Mobely, Jalen Green, or Jalen Suggs to really help out your team, and I think those guys are just a better player to take than Kuminga. Kuminga would be interesting if we had the 5th overall pick, and I would strongly consider it, but I think in the top 4, your decision is pretty much made up for you. Whoever falls out of Mobely, Suggs, and Green is the player you should take, not to mention the fact that Kuminga is a small forward, power forward. Raptors kind of already have that in Anunoby and Siakam. And I get he could come off the bench. I get we could trade other players. But I'm more suited to taking the better player in, I just think, Suggs or Green or Mobely. And I think those players are not only better, but they fit our team better as well. Because, you know, we could use a guard to play alongside Fred VanVleet. We could use a center because we just straight up don't have one. I don't think we necessarily need to reach for this player. But I gotta say, it would be very much like Masai to take a chance in this player with the insane upside. So what do you guys make of Jonathan Kuminga? I know a few of you are interested in him, but not many. Not many. I see the interest. It's just not for me. But let me know what your thoughts and opinions are about Jonathan Kuminga and how he kind of lines into what Masai Ujiri typically is looking for in the comments down below, because that wraps up for me for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you are still here, be sure to hit that like button. If you did enjoy the video at any point, really goes a long way to helping us reach some new viewers for the channel with that YouTube algorithm. Also shows me that you made it to the end of the video. Check out our Twitch, twitch.tv/amateursports, where we've been watching along NBA Finals game plus doing other video game content on the side. You can follow us with the link in the description. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel on a road to 5,000 subscribers. You can help us get there by subscribing. Other videos by the channel you may enjoy, and always remember, at the end of the day, I believe what I say, and if you disagree, that is okay. Enjoy the grind, and we'll see you again next time for another video.